It's fine. I just need to take a screenshot of it.
Oh, I also just I love that you said that right as we took it live. It's the perfect way to start out the
Oh,
first
we're on.
ever ever funeral party. Welcome to Funeral Party, where we speak whispers of the departed and look for portents of what to come. We're going to talk a little bit more about what that means in just a second. By talk about I mean figure out, because this is our first episode of Funeral Party. My name is Tony Vicinda. I'm Chief Alchemist here at Plus One EXP, which is a weird little brand that multi-classes in tabletop game design, beard and skincare alchemy, and the Bardic College of Content Creation. This is your first time coming to our channel. We're super excited to have you here with us, and it might be because this is the first time we're hosting Funeral Party. I'm going to introduce you now to my co-host, or have my co-host introduce themselves, and that's Jarrett. Jarrett, tell people who you are, what you do, and it's hard to find you online, so tell us another interesting fact about yourself.
Hi, I am Jarrett, and I am project manager at Exalted Funeral and a bunch of other places. I don't, not on socials just because I'm busy doing the work and digging in and helping people make cool stuff and just getting to see all of the cool things that exist in our little indie RPG scene. And I was going to save it for later. What would people like to know about me? I'm a Scorpio.
That last question is actually their chance to ask you. I did see that you wrote that in. This is not 100% improv. We do have some questions in advance. But yeah, once a month on the final Friday of every single month, Jarrett and I, and usually some guests, are going to sit down and talk about what's been going on at Exalted Funeral, what's coming up at Exalted Funeral. We'll make some announcements, have some reveals. Some of the details will be in process, so please be aware that anything we say here is subject to change based on the realities of stuff. But really, we just want to celebrate and dive into a lot of the great work that happens at Exalted Funeral here at Plus One EXP. Our major hope, our biggest passion, is to help amazing designers find great players who love their game, and help amazing players find great designers whose games they can love. And Exalted Funeral brings so many phenomenal games to market on a consistently regular basis from small creators who wouldn't necessarily be able to get them out in the same way. So we'll talk about some of those projects, some other things that are going on, just the most recent funeral news. We'll also answer your questions throughout the course of it. Today it's just going to be the two of us, so you get to know each of us. We can kind of figure things out before we invite someone else into this horrible mess that we've created. It's going to be amazing. We're super excited about it, but thank you all so much for being here with us. Also, if you have not hit follow yet on Twitch, go ahead and do that. If you're not watching on Twitch, you may want to hop over, because we are going to be giving away a $75 gift card. We'll always have something to give away at every funeral party, because what's a party without party favors? Hit follow so that you know when we're going live, but also so that you can get entered into a chance to win that. I'm going to open it up in just 1 second, but I just want to go ahead and thank Exalted Funeral also too for sponsoring Funeral Party. It's absolutely great to have your support both for our channel and to partner with you in this way. So thank you so much for doing that, and thanks everybody for being in the chat. We've got about 46 people watching in different locations right now. Here's the deal that I'll make. If we get up to, let's say 60, so go retweet that we're live, let people know that the funeral party is going on. If we get to up to 60 people in the party, I'll give away something else also too. I already know what it is, but I'm not going to tell you. I'm going to open the giveaway in just 1 second. So let people know. We're at 60 now. Well, maybe my thing is just slow. All right, we'll give something else away. That's great. It could be beard oil. It could be bear oil also too. With that said, we've got a couple different segments that we have set up here on the channel that I didn't put where I needed them on my Streamlabs, so I'm going to move them around real quick so I can do that. But one of the things that we really wanted to talk about again was some of the great stuff that's happening at Exalted Funeral, and so we hopped onto the Exalted Funeral Discord, which if you're not a part of, should absolutely join. And we asked people there, like, what are some segments you want to be? We don't have a cooking segment worked up yet, but we're going to introduce you to the different segments today. And the first one that we're going to talk about is the hearse. The hearse is what's on the way, what's about to get delivered, or what's coming up soon at Exalted Funeral. This could be current Kickstarters, things that just hit the shelves, restocks, other things like that. But I'm going to hand it over to my main man, Jarrett, to talk to us a little bit about what's just come into stock. Jarrett, what's on the hearse? What are we looking forward to right now at Exalted Funeral?
Everything. So super thanks to everyone. Thanks to you, Tony, and everyone watching, and everyone on the server, and everyone making games and talking about games and all of this. We had just super massive success with our Hot Die Summer July sale. It was we blew all estimations out of the water. It was just to the point where I haven't even had chance to catch up and read through physicals of all of the things that everyone threw at me when I was just like, hey, you guys want to print stuff? And then everyone was like, yeah. And then so super mad thanks to everyone on that one. Kickstarter Project, obviously most of you know, Herbalist Primer is up and going right now and exceeding all expectations. I'm not kidding you. We woke up Wednesday morning and it was, type chat with me and Matt and Anna, and we're like ready to go. And then numbers started to go and we're just like, woo! We've all three not slept a lot the past couple of days, Kristen as well. Super thanks to everyone who's backing that and behind that and rolling with us as we're rolling out all of these other stretch goals and stuff like that. It feels really good to it looks seamless on the outside, or at least we hope so. From the inside, it feels good that things are paying off. Same thing with Sandy Pug.
Well, before we hop to that, tell people who may not be familiar yet, because there may be people here who just came here for my good looks and not because they're Exalted Funeral fan folks. Tell us about Herbalist Primer. Tell us about the book. We're actually going to have the creator on in a couple of weeks to dive deep into it, look at some of the layouts, look at some of the spreads, but tell us a little bit more about this beautiful book and what it is and what people can expect from it.
So it is a 360-page hardcover book all about plants. It's system agnostic, meant to be used for your game, almost like an in-world artifact. Anna has blown us all away with the research, the writing, the art, the design, the coming up with last-second stretch goal illustrations for the Kickstarter page for us. Absolutely, it's going to be an absolutely gorgeous book. You could probably drop that link in there, Tony, if people wanted to. Unless you already did.
If somebody types in ! That herb, the link will pop up right away. I can do it in a second if nobody types in ! That herb, though.
Shooting for, it'll be out in people's hands next year. All the behind the scenes back end stuff's going on in a flurry, in a good way. And I can't wait to hold this thing in my hands.
It looks absolutely gorgeous. I've also gotten a chance to see some of the different layout pieces and other things that not everybody else has. Anna sent me those. It's just absolutely gorgeous inside. As the kind of I'm a big fan of supplements like Into the Weird and Wild and other ones that give me a lot of things I can just pick up, because I always play the type of character who's like, I just want to put that stuff in my pockets. And so herbalism has been a long time obsession of mine in that. Also, as somebody who infuses plants into oils as a regular part of making beard balm here at home, I am hugely excited to see all the different pieces that go into that and to talk with Anna about that in a couple of weeks. So it's an absolutely beautiful project. I can't wait to get my hands on it. Also, there's there's the flashcard stretch goal. There's all these other things that are going to make it a really great thing that you can, if you have a character people who play characters like mine where they just want to mess around with that stuff, or if you want to build a campaign around that, you're gonna have a lot of resources for it. But it's just the visual presence of this game is just absolutely tremendous. I'm super thrilled by what's been happening with it also too. And so we're getting asked in the chat, everybody in the chat answer this question also. What's the best herb? What do you think is the best herb, Jarrett? You can do a
Come on,
blend,
that-
you can do a
it's-
common blend if you want.
it's
Also,
too easy. It's rosemary. That's my
rosemary. We
favorite.
got a lot of
Mhm.
rosemary fans in the chat,
Mhm.
and so we got Diogo in the chat also too. Hey, Diogo. And so I'm a big fan of garlic. I'm not gonna go ahead
I
and lie.
love garlic as well. Yeah.
My kids will oftentimes walk into the kitchen and say, "That smells really good. What are you cooking?" And it's just like oil and garlic, and that's
And
it. And I'm
garlic
like,
sweating
y'all
at
don't
pan.
actually, you're not actually excited about what I'm cooking. You just like garlic because I predisposed you. So the next project you were going to mention is the Exquisite Corpse in Maggot's Keep, which is a partnership with Sandy Pug Games, I believe. Tell us a little bit about the Exquisite Corpse. Tell us how that came to be. Like not just about the game, but like it's a partnership between these two great distribution, publication, and design houses. Tell us a little bit more about Exquisite Corpse and Maggot's Keep.
Well, gonna be straight up with you. I haven't had a chance to completely dive in there and go forth because my brain's been over in Herbalist land. The team at Sandy Pug reached out and asked us about doing fulfillment, and then it expanded into the where it's at now, and it's as simple as reaching out and talking to us, and if we can work it into the schedule, we can get it, like something will happen, like we want it to. So how about you tell me about it?
I have only spent a little bit of time on it also too, but I can tell you a little bit about it because I've got the page open right in front of me. But it is it's a method by which Exquisite Corpse is a method by which a collection of words or images is collectively assembled. Each collaborator adds to the composition in sequence, either followed by a rule or by being allowed only to see the end of what the previous person contributed. So the game itself, the Exquisite Corpse in Maggot's Keep, is a full-length illustrated gamebook in which you play a beautiful skeleton festooned in jewelry who wakes up inside their coffin in a deep, mysterious cavern. Who were you in life? What preternatural magics animated you? What strange creatures and situations will you encounter in this Maggot's Keep? We don't know yet. Unlike other game books, this one is being created by a team of 11 writers in collaboration. When you make a choice and turn the page, that choice guides you into a different writer. Each member of our writing team will have their own characters and situations, bouncing off the ones that came before it. The effect may feel like a short story collection by way of DVD menu, or like a group of friends hanging out, taking turns telling a story around the fire, which I did know that it was this collaborative process. I did know that you woke up in a keep, but I wanted to make sure I didn't miss any of the specific details. But I also think the pledge levels on this campaign are some of the best. One, like you get the PDF. Two, you can get the PDF. You get the hardship PDF, the regular PDF, the paperback. They've got this absolutely beautiful hardcover with metal foiling now, as well as a normal hardcover. But the best pledge level ever for $5,000. And when I say ever, I mean like across all Kickstarters. Only in the continental United States. Sorry. They will hand deliver you your book in a full-size coffin nestled in the loving embrace of the Exquisite Corpse themselves. The coffin will be hand decorated with art from the book and make for a great conversation piece before it becomes your personal vessel for the Maggot's Keep. Included with this tier is everything from the Exquisite Ex Libris tier. So you can get your own coffin for $5,000. It's limited one. No one's gotten it yet. It's time to hop on it. And if you have it, like, if there are 50 other people, I am willing to have my ashes put in this corpse with you, and we can each go in,
Nice.
for a couple hundred or $100. And so, but yeah, I'm super excited about this project. It's looked absolutely amazing. And so what's next? I know we got a couple other announcements. Again, if you just joined us, go ahead and hit !party. If you already did it, you don't need to do it again, though I know a number of you will, to get entered into a chance to win a $75 $75 gift card from Exalted Funeral. What do we got next on the list here?
Wanted to give a shout out to In the Footsteps of Mad Wizard. As long as Kevin never asked me about VAT ever again. But Tish, there you go, Kevin. It's the expansion for Forbidden Psalm, which is a fantastic. Gonna say Morkborg because I got the okay the other day just to say Morkborg. inspired tactical miniatures game, and it got me fired up to the point where I ended up getting some craft supplies and pulling out my homemade terrain and working up my squad and running some solo games of it in my living room 2 weekends ago. And Footsteps expands on that. More situations, more scenarios, more names. I'm super stoked to get that physically in my hands as well. Like I like it. Yeah. I like it a lot.
Also, if you want to link to the Exquisite Corpse Kickstarter, if somebody types in, because for whatever reason my chat bot won't let me type in commands, !maggot, it'll bring up the link to that. I'm actually going to just nominate Alfred, because I know you're in the chat there watching. You can type in !maggot, though. Again, other people are going to do it anyways. But Alfred, if you don't do it, I'll be upset. And so... awesome. No, I am super excited about that. I saw some conversations about it. I love the idea of people taking their the RPGs that they've written and adding tactical miniatures combat rules to them, just taking the core of that and making some tactics games around them. Over in a community I'm a part of, the Brain Trust, there's been a lot of conversations around how to build in good tactics, which is really funny because a lot of us eschew really granular rules unless it's a tactics game, and then we're just super excited all about it. So but it's been an absolutely cool thing to watch happen. I'm super excited about it. Also, and then we've got our last part of the obituaries. We've got an announcement, a little bit of an announcement to make. Also, tell us what that announcement is, because we're all excited. It's why everyone tuned in today. It's all anyone cares about, and they're all ravenous for the details, even though they don't know what it is yet.
Which announcement?
The only one you wrote down, as far as I know.
The EU and the UK stores are coming soon. TM. See what I did there? Coming soon, TM. Yes, it's out there. People know. We're working on setting up our storefronts for other places. Like Kristen and Matt and Fiona and Beckett they're doing all the fun stuff that I don't get to do. I get to do other fun stuff. Fun being not fun. But all of that is going through rigorous testing and making sure that all of those things are set up right, so that when the day comes, people will be able to, order product, stuff that we have normally on our exaltedfuneral.com, that they'll be able to order. At first, obviously, it's going to be some things, a little bit from here and a little bit from there. We would love to, in a perfect world, be able to, boom, replicate our entire stock and have it in each of the other spaces. This isn't D&D. As much as it seems like it. So that's going to be a process of getting that there, getting all of the I know everyone's super stoked for OSC too, me too, all of the things that come with that. So we're working. Just trust us, when it goes live, we're going to be ready.
Awesome. I'm super excited. So this is for people who don't know, and I know this is not your area of expertise, it's not your focus at Exalted. You do product management, not fulfillment, all that other stuff. But for people who want to use Exalted for fulfillment, what's the best way to start that process? How do they, if I'm I've got a game coming up, let's say I had a game called Down We Go launching at ttrpg.link/downwego live next Tuesday, August 31st at 10 a.m. Eastern time. Let's say that was the case, and I wanted to have Exalted Funeral fulfill in the U.S. or in the future in the U.K. Where would how would I start that process? By the way, if anybody wants that link, you can type an !DWG Alfred, and it'll bring that up.
Do it. So I am the receptor for those.
Awesome.
We could run through the whole example. But yeah, easiest, best way, reach out to me at projects@, and we'll talk to you. We'll get you pointed in the right direction. Sorry that somebody's mowing out front.
That's fine. I can't hear it. Other people may be able to. Also, I do love that everybody just trolled me and just typed in !DWG Alfred, which I was just queuing Alfred, and Alfred typed in !DWG me. It's just !DWG. However, great question from Matt is, can you tell people a little bit the difference between distribution and fulfillment for people who don't know the difference between distribution and fulfillment? Because sure. I don't know that I could guess at it, but I don't actually know.
Sure. So fulfillment is, you've done a Kickstarter, and however you're managing the back end on there, you're printing the product and it's going to one of our warehouses, and then we assist you with the packing and the actual fulfillment, the physical mailing out of that goes to your backers, right? Distribution works in, we have Beckett Warren, who is our wholesale person. And if we have specifically things like, for example, you'll be able to find soon in game stores, if not now, copies of UDG, like on the shelf at your local game store. If it's not on the shelf at your local game store, ask your store owner to be like, hey, can you get Ultraviolet Grasslands? And get it through and we work with several distributors to get them into actual brick and mortar stores. So most of your good tabletop and hobby shops are going to have their contacts with the various distributors, and they'll be able to find stuff through there.
Yeah, awesome.
So that's kind of the light difference. It's not a perfect definition, and people have differing ideas and what that goes on, but that's kind of loosely how it works.
Awesome. No, it's a great explanation. I love it. And I think this is a good question from Voodoo Clown. I don't know that you have an answer. I'm going to rephrase it a little bit. Stocking numerous locations already brings in, like, that requires you to have more product because you're splitting between locations. Now, some of that's going to offset because people who were ordering from the American store overseas are now going to be ordering from a local store instead. But does that mean we're going to see bigger orders for Exalted Funeral coming so that you can float that? If you don't know the answer to that, that's also totally okay to say, I don't know yet.
Yeah, I don't know. Hopefully. So yeah, like I said, all of the stuff on the logistics side, it's all work in progress.
Awesome. That's a great answer. And I've been so thoroughly impressed by, I think a lot of times people will see, like, I know for one of my sites, it's like just me and one part-time individual for an entire e-commerce company that ships stuff all over the globe. And people will sometimes send me messages like, it's been a week since we sent you a message on Facebook. How dare you not respond? I'm like, it is just me and a freelance graphic designer. That's it for this entire company. I think people oftentimes don't have a sense of scale of the size of Exalted Funeral because there's so much that goes on within it. Who are you've thrown out some of the names, but how many people are there ish? I know there's freelancers and other stuff like that really make up kind of the core Exalted Funeral team.
Well, Kristen and Matt own it and do all kinds of wizardry that nobody sees. I'm over on projects, the the zine printing program, the big sales, the push, the Kickstarters and stuff like that. Fiona handles purchasing. So if a creator has a work that they would like to see stocked in our stores, they contact her at purchasing at Exalted Funeral. And then Beckett handles our wholesaling, dealing with brick and mortar stores and big buys and stuff like that. So that's us for right now. More to come as we're growing and stuff. And then we have our lovely warehouse team at Flying Cloud. And I don't know if they're listening, but I love you guys. Sorry about the sale. It's it's good.
No, that's the thing. I want people to get a sense of like the Exalted Funeral is not 40 or 50 people, sitting, who meet in a graveyard at night, summoning forth all the great things that happen. There is that part of Exalted Funeral, but that's a different department. Allegedly. They are, it is a small group of people who make a ton of amazing things happen within the indie RPG community. And so that's why I want people to get a little bit of a sense of also too. Well, it's time for our next segment. That was the first segment. We did it. We got through it. I think the next couple will hopefully go quicker. Otherwise, we'll be here longer than we intended.
Sure.
But let's find out. And that is the Obituaries. We're going to talk about the nearly and dearly departed games over at Exalted Funeral. So these are some things that may be almost out of print or that have just recently gone out of print so people can know what they might want to keep an eye out for reprints, what they might want to go grab real quick. By the way, you can type in !party favor and get a link directly to Exalted Funeral's website. So if you want to go snag any of this stuff real quick, you can absolutely do that. There's also a link in the description if you're watching this later. And so let's talk about what's nearly departed, what's about to go out of stock.
So a bunch of the summer sale exclusives, we're starting to get there. Those will, if they really go, we'll do reprints and stuff like that. Oh
wait, sorry, it's party favors plural because I want you to buy multiple things at exaltedfuneral.com. So !party favors. Sorry, Jared, go ahead.
Oh no, you're good. A lot of the stuff from the July sale is starting to get down there, and some of the, again, depending on time and budgets, they will be reprinted and stuff like that. But like for a lot of those things, my biggest practice is I'm not going to give out hard dates on anything like that because I say the wrong thing, somebody gets upset about it. We don't want that. You know what I'm saying? We want to keep that sort of expectation now. But specifically, and I put it in our notes, and there's Tony. Here's me apologizing in public and being like, I'm sorry, Tony. I screwed up iToaster. Tony and the entire team behind iToaster, because this dumbass right here, pointing at myself, managed to miss the fact that the last 4 pages were missing when I set it up with the printer. We got it fixed. The bad copies are being recycled and taken care of. The new print should be up in the store. So I'm hoping I'm being like, people go buy it, so that the sales catch, because we had to take it down for a couple of days.
I was excited. It's my first game to ever get a second printing. If you got one of the initial ones on the Exalted sale, you've got a limited edition copy. Another edition like that will never be printed because it doesn't have the last 4 pages. It was a total whoops. But I mean, like, the Exalted team handled it phenomenally. I was super excited. It is back in stock. I'm also really excited about that also too. So if you didn't get iToaster, you absolutely should go check it out. It's my homage to the Brave Little Toaster, Batteries Not Included, a bunch of other 80s concepts where appliances come to life and are sentient and other things like that, and you play as one of those sentient appliances. Shout out to also on TikTok, the hashtag BeggarTeach folks who did a lot of videos for that, but it's back in stock. You can type an !toaster if you want a link to go directly to that. in the chat also too. So go check it out. It's a little A6 book, beautiful art by Billy Blue, but also an adventure and some more art by Madeline Amber, who I absolutely adore and love working with on projects. We're working on a project right now called Down We Go. You can check that out at an exclamation point, Down We Go. But it is an absolute blast. There's a lot of really fun things that happen. And yeah, like I said, things happen and I was super excited about it. It's always the fun thing. This is an important thing to know whenever you're talking about games. There's sides and there's pages. And Jarrett and I normally talk about sides. And then when we were getting ready to send a toaster to print, I sent a description that listed the pages because all normal other human beings just talk about pages, and that's where some of the confusion happened. And so I'm super thrilled that people are going to get to play it, and those who already have. So I'm thrilled it's back in stock. So go check it out. Buy them all gone. Let the toasters take over the world. What are some other things that are recently departed that are no longer in stock?
Before we move to that, I wanted to say that the other thing, Black Knights by David Hoskins and Luke Gearing, which is lovely and beautiful. Sorry, we're under 50 copies of it, and it's going fantastically. It's minimalist. It started out, David did these drawings of these knights, like these suits of armor, and then Luke wrote the words to fit them. And then I did some minor edit stuff on them. But David had them printed in Orlando. He's going to probably text me and be like, no, somewhere else. But they did a fantastic job on it. And it's absolutely gorgeous and lovely, especially the dragon fold out in the middle. I'm just going to say, spoilers, you can actually drive a dragon bot, like the control panel. It's pretty cool.
I love it. I didn't have that one prepped, so I did just drop a link myself
cool.
in there also too.
And then the other one that I'm excited, I missed out again already, but I'll wait. Hopefully we're working on restocks. I know Fiona kicks ass every single day at coordinating several hundred lines of communication with people to get their books and zines and products from them to our warehouse in the right way, in the right manner, and intact and stuff like, and everything. Is Corpse Weight Cove. I want a copy of it. I know the restocks are working. Eventually I'll get one.
I was gonna grab my copy, but it's over there, and I was just gonna fan myself with it when you brought it up so that I could
you'll be that guy.
That I got it. It is absolutely gorgeous. I mentioned earlier, loving getting to work with Madeline on iToaster. This is an Ember and Ash production, so it's written by Madeline. It is absolutely gorgeous. I just love all the map and location work that Madeline does is just so good. But everything, this Frankenshark is so amazing. And I would say there's no way to get like the colors in this book pop so much, and there's no good way to get that represented on the screen. Like, they are insanely well done, the coloration on this, both the print job, but obviously the original like color matching and color palette building Madeline did is so phenomenal on this project. If you want to get notified when this goes back into stock, you can type in !Cove. It'll take you right to this page. You can put in your email, and when it's back in stock, Exalted will shoot you an email. Just click this little pink thing down here in the corner, but that's !Cove. We're going to answer a bunch of questions in just 1 second. I see some rolling in. Also, if you're just joining us, because I noticed our numbers kind of ticked up, hit follow and then hit !Party to get entered into a chance to win a $75 gift certificate from our friends over at Exalted Funeral. Thanks to Exalted Funeral for sponsoring Funeral Party on the final Friday of every month. Jarrett and I will be getting together to do this exact thing, catch you up on what's going on, talk about the great things that are happening, do some fun and funny segments, and have a good time together. So if you just joined us, !Party. And if you typed in a question, I'm going to ask you to type them in again in just a little bit when we get to that segment. Anything else that we want to talk about that's whoa, everybody's seeing behind the curtain. Oh no.
Yeah.
They saw my notes. They saw my notes on screen. They know it's not all just improv. So for our next segment, that's two of them down. One A couple more to
Mhm.
go. We've got the Eulogy. The Eulogy is all about usually us sitting down with one of the Exalted Funeral creators, somebody who's made a game for Exalted Funeral, and talking to them about what inspires them, what's beautiful, and what they want the end of their life to be like. Because, hey, I love killing a theme. And so today, since we don't have a special guest, I'm going to interview Jarrett and ask Jarrett
Uh-oh.
some of these questions. Jarrett, so for your Eulogy, we're going to talk about what inspires you. What do you want to have happen with your remains when you die?
No, for reals, turn me into ink and use me to make books with. Not kidding.
Uh,
So
is there a
I don't.
process for that? Is there like, do you get cremated first? Is it just, do you get exsanguinated? What's the process?
Probably. I need to catch up and read Caitlin Dowdy's book from was it From Here to Eternity. She like mortician. She writes like all about like death and death rites and rituals and customs from all over the world. It's literally sitting by my bed
It's
for
one of my, it's a great tome.
2 years. 2 years now. I haven't got to it. I'm sorry.
We should just get her on one time as a guest. Be like, we know you don't make games, but just come talk to us about death. So we'll make a game live on air. It'll be great.
There we go.
And so, what do you want people to say about you at your funeral? Like, what's something you hope people say as they dress up and stand over the books that they've written with the ink that was your body?
That I was a good cat dad.
Good cat dad.
Because my cats don't think that I'm a good. No, my cats love me. Yeah, that is a good cat dad. That I did the work that is helpful. You know, that tried to do good shit.
Awesome.
So,
what's one song that you want played as they lower you into the ground? I guess this would actually be as they all get together and scrawl your body across books. What song do you want playing in the background?
That's easy. I've known that one for years. It's Avery Island / April 1st, the instrumental from Neutral Milk Hotels on Avery Island. Like that's the title, but it's this nice. It's I guess it's almost like a polka. It's not a waltz. It's not 3/4. But it's got this nice little trombone line, and it's always struck me as the perfect tempo for like a cat if I was buried, for a casket to be lowered into the ground.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Love it. What is one game that someone else made that you want to be buried with?
For all its mess and its warts and like everything all over the place, Moldvay Basic, like this one. I did not this actual copy, but this is what my uncle taught me to play when I was like 6-7 years old and stuff. I just think it just indelibly, it's just stuck in my head. Like I like this version the best. I like the way to read it. Like this version even has someone like colored in this kobold's eyes red. It's pretty cool. I don't know if you can see that. But this is just like my desk reference copy. I've been working on reorganizing the table of contents.
I love it. You have another, I think, is there another game you'd love to have be buried with also?
And then my favorite module adventure location is EVE's White Grandpa by Evie Lockhart. Yes, I know I've worked on it, but it's just the epitome of, we call it a sad adventure. It's just brilliant, beautiful. It's got a name that people are like, what is Wet Grandpa? And then they see the cover that ACP did, and all of the design work that Christian and Corey did on the inside with the colors. Dan had us do that extruded spine. The printers did extruded spine on it. People get it, and they're just like, wait, is this right? There's not a spine on it. And we're like, yes, it's Coptic binding is what it's called. where it's exposed. But I should have had my copy too. Is like right over here. I'll slide and get it just because I like to show it off because it's really really pretty. Oh my God, where are you at? There you are.
By the way, if you have a question about Jarrett, not about how the sausage gets made, we're going to talk about embalming for fun and profit in our last segment in just 1 second. Move it over in front of your face a little bit to make it better centered on screen. There you go.
There we go.
Go ahead and type any questions you have about Jarrett. I'll take 2 or 3 of them, and then we're going to hop over to talking about embalming for fun and profit, our second to last segment here on Funeral Party. Any questions that you have about Jarrett, let me know, and we'll ask them. Otherwise, we're going to slide over to our final segment. Jarrett, why is Morphine the best band?
Because I'm trying to think of who would have asked that.
Matthew K.
Yeah, because it just makes you feel like swimming. There we go.
Can we see the cats? I don't know that we're going to be able to grab the cats right now. What cats do you have? How many cats? What kind of cats?
I have 2 that I share with my lovely girlfriend Debbie. Itty Bitty is our older girl. She is about 11 or 12. Just a domestic short hair. She's gray. When she came home, this is before I met Debbie, but Debbie called her Itty Bitty because she was just like itty bitty. Now we joke just because she's gotten older and a cat, and we like to spoil them. And we say that Itty Bitty ate Itty Bitty. So she's our old girl. She's really mouthy in particular, likes to be scratched certain ways. And then there is Sir Gilbert McLindsay, who is my cat, also known as King Ghidorah, also known as Jeeves or Gwibs. Both of these cats have appeared in different forms, and sometimes in art, sometimes in text, and a lot of RPGs stuff I've worked on over the years. And he is a Maine Coon, so he's got the long flowy hair and the beard. He has to get haircuts a few times a year. He gets all floofy. He is loud and obnoxious and talks a lot.
Awesome.
So
if we get over 100 people watching at some point next time, we'll have Jarrett bring out the cats. So you got to get let cat ttrpg community know,
yeah.
and we'll make cat images happen on screen. One last question, because it was a good pull. Antlers Harvest said, "Is that the Starship Warden behind you?"
It is. It is actually Doug Kovacs's version of it, from the MA that Goodman Games did. It's actually a bunch of several levels. Also, happy birthday, Doug! Haha, you're awesome.
Love it. So this has been the Eulogy. Normally, like I said, we'll have different guests on. You'll be able to ask them questions about their work, their creations, other stuff like that. If you're somebody who's made a game or is making a game with Exalted Funeral, feel free to tell Jarrett you want to come on, and we'll put you on the list, and we'll work through it, because we'll just have 1 or 2 each time. Lots of times it'll be as stuff is coming up that might be interesting to folks, but it might just be some fan favorites from the past, other stuff like that also too. So feel free to let us know if you're a Exalted Funeral creator and interested in coming on at some point in the future. We're going to talk about embalming for fun and profit, how the sausage gets made. These are your technical questions about the process of developing, making, printing, or marketing RPGs or within the RPG community. It could also be about playing, I guess, or other things like that. But we're going to talk about embalming for fun and profit. Both of us have picked a question, or at least I told Jarrett he should beforehand, and then I promptly forgot to make sure that I wrote mine down. So I'm going to go look at the list again and pick one out. But Jarrett, what's the question that you picked out to talk about on embalming for fun and profit? And if you have a technical question that you want answered, go ahead and type it in, because I'll just pick one off the list live right now rather than going and looking. But Jarrett, what was your question that you picked?
So yesterday when you posted this up on our Discord server over there, Rick, and they have a pretty cool skeleton pirate icon, but Rick asked, play testing, what is a good process for organizing, running, and collecting feedback? How much is enough play testing to get it out the doors? And I was, I mentioned this before we went live, and it just kind of like, so that is super duper project dependent. It really depends on the scope of your game. You can go, in my opinion, as far as, focus groups, like paid focus groups, with like different demographics, population strata, different people playing it and giving your feedback. You can do it as little as saying like, no, I'm not going to play test it and put it out there. I'm not going to tell you which things have maybe not been play tested. It really honestly depends on the project. In my opinion, not everything needs to be like, it would be great if there was enough time for everything to be, because you will find plot holes and you will find mechanical holes and stuff like that. But honestly, I've just, because I've worked on a bunch of different things over the years and we've tried so many different things. Where we're currently sitting at, and this is we're doing this with Mothership with our stuff is, I don't know if Sean's listening, but he texted me earlier and said good luck. We have just found like we get the best when you do kind of a one-on-one, like an email feedback with, if someone sends you all of their stuff, like all of their thoughts and everything, and then you can kind of like read through that and kind of digest it. That helps because we know our playtesters personally, for the most part. We've played with them or we've conversed with them for a very long time. The other thing too is to not forget that playtests should never get in the way of play. They should never be in the way of game. Like, I post up like, hey, yeah, I'm gonna run a play test tonight. In my head, I'm still saying, hey, I want to play a game. I want to run a game with you tonight. If it, like I said, if it's a focus group, it's focus testing and things like that, and you're just like, we really only want to do a little bit about this one particular section. Like I was running some stuff on a server, and I wanted to see how specifically streamlined combat went or something like that. You know what I mean? Or maybe we'll do a side game, and it's like we'll test out town building rules or village generation and stuff like that. It is good and helpful to have a list of questions that you want to answer, like vague questions of like, is this good or what do you think? They kind of help, but it really helps. I found it really helps if you get down to like, I want to see what if rolling this way does, if we're doing a blade of armor, does it work with this setting?
Right.
Do XP and leveling, like, is it really necessary to do XP and leveling in this specific situation, or is it necessary for this game? So that's my roundabout way of saying like it really changes and varies from place to place. And then collecting feedback part of it. I have found that when I've been involved in tests, like play tests, like at conventions and stuff like that, of people handing me a list of written questions and then writing it down. Some people are just like, oh, no, thanks for the game. Cool. I'm moving on.
Yeah.
Some people really want to get in depth with you, and they want to sit and talk with you after a while and on kind of like get it done, and get it out of the system, Yeah.
I think for me, like it's is this good is never a question. Because your friends always say yes and your enemies always say no, and they're both liars. But like early, like one of my first questions is always like, what stood out to you? Like what was it like to play? Like going back to that playtesting is playing, like what was your experience of play, and just starting there is good because people are going to tell you what they noticed in some very roundabout ways. You're looking for large scale patterns a lot of the time if you're doing big play testing. And then usually, like, I love that advice of like have a list of targeted questions because it's really helpful. And then the other thing I found is like Google Forms are your friends both in person, like especially with the rise of cell phones, the ability to like slide a QR code down, have somebody scan it, have it take them to a Google form, even at a con, is a really good way to codify like, hey, I want to just talk about it, but if you could type in a couple of key notes for me, that would be awesome. Even if you're on your way, it's a really good way to just pull all that data back if you care, if you're going to go through the data. But don't ask people to do stuff you're not going to go through. Otherwise, ask your specific questions and go. Like, you know.
I'm totally stealing that. Like I'm not shitting you right now.
Yeah.
And for the people watching at home and listening, like this is like it's every all of this is all a learning process. It's all like learning and sharing, and I was like that. It's just a thing that I'm like, oh yeah, I should just have a little QR code on a laminate, if when we get back to in-person conventions, and can just be like, if you have time, and check that. I guess what do you put on there? Just like some basic info, like did you play the game? Do you
I would do like, I mean, it depends on what you're looking for. So like how, like I would want to know like, what's your email? Because email capture. Did you always be marketing? Did you like give us 2 to 3 like name, when, and time you played? That way I can kind of figure out like who was your GM, time you played, if there's multiple sessions, or just what time did you play. That way I can maybe go back to it. And then what are 2 or 3 things that stood out to you? What's one thing you would change? If you have a list of specific questions, you go ahead and put those into the form though, and people will get asked those questions, and you just tell them like, if it didn't come up in game, or if you don't have any thoughts about it, just hit NA and just go to the next one, right? Make it really quick. I would say find those 2 or 3 top ones that you want to go through. Quick question that I'll ask you while I'm formulating a thought for the next one. Wisp of Time said, I was pumped to see a tarot deck in the EF store. Are there plans to stock/create any more tarot decks in the future?
Well, yes, of course.
There we go.
Yes, obviously diversifying. Yes, there's not at liberty. I'm not naming names or anything like that. But yeah, we're always down again about like doing the cool projects, like doing the cool shit, and like having decks and oracle decks and stuff like that, and tarot decks, and we want to have a nice big portfolio of like all of these like cool things, like it's all it. Yeah. We're working on stuff. I'll say that. So,
and if people have ideas, reach out to Jarrett and let him know what they are, because that's a big part of how stuff gets done, especially in the indie RPG community. Teal Turtle had a great question, which I'm going to actually take, even though they directed it to you. I'd love to hear your thoughts on it also. Are there better sizes / pages, amounts, word counts that are more marketable than others, or is there really not a sweet spot? I would say this, in my experience, there's not a sweet spot. But I would say this, a lot of people don't know how to extract what is most marketable from their game. So even when you do marketing a lot of the time, it's very hard when it's with your own project to be able to develop the specifics of how you sell this, because selling something is a different skill than making something. I play huge games that I love on stream here at Plus One EXP all the time. We play a lot of small games that I really love. There's no word count or size that I think sells better. Now, obviously, big books cost more money to make. Small books cost less money to make. Sure. Budget impacts a lot of those things. But a small book, if you don't know how to extract like, hey, what's the theme, what's the hook, what's the core mechanic, and quickly communicate that to other people in an exciting way, can be really challenging. And that's just from the marketing side of things. Like I do short review videos over on our YouTube channel of different systems all the time. We got to work with Exalted Funeral on Arc, which is a good sized book. We also do small little zines that people put out, or a couple page RPGs that people put out. And I look for the same exact things in every one. Can I clearly communicate in an exciting way the theme and flavor of the game, how character creation works, and what the core role mechanics are? And can I explain all of that in 5 minutes or less? And if I can't, then I would want to keep on looking at how I refine my marketing process or my design process to make sure that I can clearly communicate that to other people. Jarrett, what are your thoughts on that, though? Is there certain sizes you see move better than others?
Dude, no, I honestly, I think that's like you answered it, everything that I would have said. I think that it 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 literally is just it's project dependent, like it feels what feels right for it. I don't necessarily have I mean, so I carry like this little like strap bag with tablet in it and stuff like that, and notebooks and things. Like I like A6, the little ones. I like to be able to drop one or two of them in there. Like if I'm traveling somewhere, I'll throw a couple things that I haven't read, and I'll put those smaller ones in there because it fits in like my bag for the day. Like if back when I wore a backpack, I could slide an A4 hardcover into my thing. Maybe not something like the Genesis size, like the really thick guys, but no, honestly, that's one of those age old battles and thoughts and discussions, and like people are they're gonna be like, I think all books should be this size, or I think they should be this size, or this works this way, that works that way. I really, I could do some market research next time. I'll put that, hold me to that, Tony.
I will.
I'll do the long eyeball and be like, so these are all A5, these are all whatever, within the same digest A5-ish. And I'll be like, and I don't think it necessarily it's going to sell any better particularly. I think there are definitely more people working in A5/6x9, like near that digest size. Just it's a reasonably good spot to print zines at and to print books at. But it doesn't mean it's perfect for everything or everybody. So
I think the most underutilized size is the A6 size. I think it's because people don't always know how to do economy of information and make a small little game. But I do, like, they fit perfectly into my back pocket, which that means I sit on them and ruin them, but that's okay because I love it.
Right.
The like Travis Hill uses that size all the time, and I love everything that Travis puts out. iToaster was that size. I'm a big fan of that really compact size, especially when it matches the feel of the game. So solo games that you want to be able to walk around with, games you want to be able to pull out of a con, games you want to be able to travel easily with, very rules light games that have that very quick, very tight feel. I think A6 size is such a phenomenal format to be working on that not enough people are using. So let's make 2022 the year of the A6.
Let's make the run on the A6. No, I was super excited for the summer, for the hot dice summer, for you to when iToaster was at, and then Luke and Benito did volume 2, Monsters and in that format. Like I was just like, yes, you know what I'm saying? Like it's just, I don't know. There's something about it, like the information goes in my brain. It's probably because of those little comics that were in the back of He-Man's.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I just said He-Man's. I meant Masters of
the Universe.
I just got fired. Matt's gonna text me right now and fire me. Watch. And it won't be coming from him. It's gonna be coming from the kids. Fire me.
We're right around the hour mark. We started a few minutes after, so we're going to go into our last segment in just 1 second. We've got some other great questions. Matthew wants to know, can you tell us more about publishing books without financial backing? I'd love to talk about some of that stuff next time. We're going to come back on the final Friday of next month and do another funeral party. We hope everybody will come back for that also. We're not done yet. Please stick around. But if you haven't hit follow yet, just to get notified when we go live, join us for our actual plays with players. Join us for our community combos that we're doing. Like I said, we've got one with Anna from Double Proficiency coming up about the Herbalist Primer. So please, if you aren't subscribed, please go ahead and do that. But we've got one last segment that we're not going to be able to fully get into today, but we are going to start talking about, and it's called Crawling Through the Library, Can We Survive the Library? One of the recommendations that I absolutely loved was something like a choose your own adventure actual play, just 5 minutes at the end. We're going to do that. It's going to be a one player, one GM. I'm going to GM. Jarrett's going to play. Maybe if we have guests, they'll hop in as NPCs, or maybe there'll be someone Jarrett encounters. But we're actually going to play through a giant library. And what it's going to look like is every single session that we do, I'm going to pick a book from the Exalted Funeral library of games to inspire the 5-minute thing we do. And Jarrett's and I think we're going to use Stygian Library as the background. But what we were going to talk about is, what system should we use for this game? And I threw out a couple. I think Troika would be a lot of fun. There's also a little game called Down We Go, which is our house OSR system. If you go to ttrpg.link/DWGLive or type an !DWG, it'll pull that link up. There's a game found crowdfunding project happening for it next week. But I think it'll be really fun. Jarrett, you had wanted, you had made a couple notes in there. Like, what were you thinking about what system we should play? And also, if you're watching, what systems do you think would be fun for a short 5-minute actual play with just a little bit of action happening every single time? What are you thinking?
I reread that, and yes, I want to know more about DWG. But also just popped in my head, I was like, Tunnel Goons.
About what?
Tunnel Goons.
Tunnel Goons would be a blast.
Yeah.
Maybe we can do it by season. Like every 6 months, we'll rotate through a new system. Like we'll just translate the character horribly into whatever that system is. Some people said Dead Halt. Some other people said Mystic Punks, which would be fun. Some people said Pasión de las Pasiones. I don't know. I would love to do that. I don't know that would work, but you know what would work that is a variation of that is Patchwork World, which if y'all have not gotten, which he hasn't sent, they haven't sent them out yet, so you don't. Patchwork World by Aaron King should absolutely go into the Exalted store. I'll message him and have him message Aaron and have them reach out to Fiona because it's just such a phenomenal classless PBTA game that uses the same kind of question process that Pasión uses also too. It's just absolutely phenomenal. It's my favorite PBTA game out there. And I'm playing it on stream of TPK in a week and a half, something like that. I'm super thrilled for it, but it's a great game that absolutely should be in the Exalted store. But yeah, we'll talk about it. Matthew K also suggests vanilla game. Riley,
I was gonna say that too.
Riley is dead to me because they said, "Have we just thought about homebrewing 5e?"
I mean, I'd be down with that too. I mean, I ran public play for Valhalla's Gate back in Columbia, Missouri. Shout out my old FLGS. I ran public play there for 2.5 years.
We've got Tunnels and Trolls, Sword Quest by Diogo, which is such a great game. Disciple of Bone and Shadow. Richard said the Jenga one, which I think you mean Sealed Library, which is the Jenga one about barbarians being at the gates. We can do a whole Sealed Library one. I don't know how we'd work out the Jenga tower, but I'm sure we could make that work.
Spooky Jenga.
Let's see. We got some more love for Patchwork World. Let's see. We've got Pasiones, Star Trek, Borderlands, Vampire Witches, Horse Thieves, and Fast and the Furious. All done in that. Puckett, send me some details about how you would do it. GURPS, which is always a good choice. Tune.
Oh, that's one of my old systems from when I was a kid. I haven't thought about GURPS. I mean, I think
right.
Think deeply, but yeah, GURPS.
GURPS was my first game that I ever played. I played for 4 years. I played at a table that had been going. I played in a setting that had been going across 6 tables for 20 years that I stepped into. I'm a long time GURPS stan. I just think it's absolutely fun. Broken Compass, Crapland to Sea Cats.
Yes, Crapland.
Packs and Blades. Lots of good suggestions. Merkborg, Dread, Into the Odd. All of which are great. We are going to talk, if people have not, I know we've loosely joked around it. We are going to talk a little bit about Down We Go. If you haven't checked it out yet, it's a minimalist RPG. It is coming out next Tuesday. I am hoping that we're not going to make any announcements about this, but I'm hoping that the details for Exalted's EKEU shop progress in a way that we can use them for fulfillment when we want to do that months down the road. I'm very excited about that as an option because I love working with them. You can go to ttrpg.link/DWGLive, but the character sheets are 1 page. Marcus Linderum, who's Apes of Wrath in the chat, is the lead designer on it. But go check it out if you haven't had a chance yet. I'm super nervous because we're launching on a brand new platform. We're only the second RPG to ever go, but it's going to make a great alternative to Kickstarter, which let's talk about this as a good segue into how this matters with Exalted Funeral. One of the biggest hangups lots of times with crowdfunding is you can only run a certain amount of projects on Kickstarter. So one of the great things about platforms like GameFound is they're tabletop game specific, but also GameFound isn't trying to restrict publishers like Exalted Funeral from being able to run numerous projects. Jarrett, you've looked a little bit at GameFound. What are some of your thoughts on the platform and how it might be useful to small publishers or Exalted Funeral in the future? Speaking purely hypothetically, with no contractual whatever, is just I know a conversation we've had.
No, I'm super excited. I got to meet with Brian, and that was a great meeting. And it's I'm super excited to get a login and account set up and like kind of see what we can do there and how it goes. Would love to be able to utilize both platforms, and maintain like internal sustainability with our stuff. We don't, nobody wants to have those projects that are like 3 and 4 years and all those horror stories and stuff like that. So it's a delicate balance when it gets into that sort of stuff. But yeah, awesome. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
So
it's been really fun to build in on the back end to mess around with. There's a lot of really great options there. We'd love your support. Anyone out there watching, again, that's if somebody types an !DWG, it'll bring up that link. But I think maybe we'll start out with Down We Go this month and next month, even though it'll be done, and we can give that a spin, or next month get it started there. We'll do that for a couple of sessions. We switch over to Tunnel Goons. We switch over to I am, if somebody sends me information on how to run it in Passiones, I will 100% give it my best. But otherwise, I'm just going to do Patchwork World. And so I'm super thrilled about just having a little bit of that, and then letting y'all in the chat help provide a little bit of direction about what you love about that book also. But again, we're going to inspire every single session by a different book that we find somewhere in this library. We're going to use Stygian Library kind of as the overall setting for some of the procedural stuff, because I think it'll make it real easy and will be a nice tie-in to some of the stuff that you can't currently get it on Exalted Funeral, but hopefully it'll be back in stock at some point soon. And so, with that said, Jarrett, any final words of wisdom that you want to impart to people before we hop off and give some stuff away?
Be excellent to each other, right? No, not really. Just thanks for everyone for tuning in on this first one and listening to us ramble and chat. And I did meant to mention earlier, shout outs. There were a couple of new releases in this week's thing that I'm really excited about, like getting physical copies for. Is Revenge of the Foaming Mutant and Liminal Horror. Check those out. Don't sleep on them. And that's not me being like, this guy. It's like I'm absolutely fantastically excited for those to get physically come to me. Like sometimes I put in orders at Exalted Funeral and don't tell, and then Kristen's like, "Why'd you do that?" I was like, "No, I want to buy them."
With that said, if you have not hit follow yet, go ahead and hit follow on the channel, and then type in !party if you haven't done both of those things in that order yet, because you need to do in that order. Follow, then !party to get entered into a chance to win in our giveaway. I am super excited about Foaming Mutants also. Andrew let me get a sneak peek at that, sent me a copy of the digital. It looks absolutely amazing. I need to pick it up before it is out of stock. It looks so good, and I love everything about it. Our game Repugnant that I did with John DeCampos, it's coming out in a couple of months. It had a lot of similar vibes to it, but I just love everything that Andrew has done. I also love like the table presence with the different like markers and other stuff like that. It's going to be such a great game. Really encourage people to go check it out. I'm going to close the giveaway in just 1 second. This is your last chance. If you've already done it, don't worry, you can't do it more than once. Here we go. We're closing the giveaway. Giveaway is closed. And we are going to pick one. I did actually say, because we did get up over 60, and we've been up over 60, we're going to give away two things. We're going to give away a $75 gift certificate. By the way, there was also one over on Exalted Funeral's Instagram that we'll pick a different way. I don't know exactly how. I'll let Matt take care of that. But also, we're going to pick a second winner, and that person is going to win a copy of iToaster also too. And so we're going to give that away also too. We'll work out the details for that, but I'll make sure it gets taken care of. I don't have a copy of iToaster yet, but I want you to have a copy of iToaster. Here we go. Here is the winner is DGustav. You win all the time. You let me know if you want that $75 gift certificate. You deserve it, though. You're here all the time. Let me know, DGustav. You can message me on Twitter because I know you, or message me here, and we'll get your email and get all that taken care of. But go ahead and shoot me a message with your email in it. We'll get that over to you. We're going to pick a second winner to get a copy of iToaster, and that individual is going to be Thriftomancer has won a copy of
Thrift.
iToaster.
Hi, Thrift.
And so we'll get both of those taken care of. Thriftomancer, same thing, either here or better on Twitch at +1EXP. Shoot me a message with your email in it. Did I say Twitch? Twitter? Whatever. One of the two. Twitter is better. And we'll get that all taken care of. With that said, I am bad at taglines. I'm bad at closing lines. The only closing line that we have a good one of here on the channel is one that Vi came up with, and that's for Prestige class. But I wrote one for this. And here's what we do. Jarrett, go ahead and tell people who you are again.
Jarrett, over projects manager, Exalted Funeral, a bunch of other places. Find me projects at exaltedfuneral.com if you want to talk about books and stuff.
Awesome. And my name is Tony Vicinda. I'm Chief Alchemist here at +1EXP. We're a weird little brand that multi-classes in tabletop game design, beard and skincare alchemy, and the Bardic College of Content Creation. If you want to follow any of our content, there's a bunch of links down below. If you're watching on Twitch, we'd love your support at getting to 1,000 subscribers over on YouTube. Or if you would be so kind to go to our Game Found pages launching next week for Down We Go. We'd love your support there also. But until next time, we'll see you. And remember, dead or alive, that we'll see you at the next funeral party. Oh, we're going to do it together? Hold on. Let's do it. 3, 2, 1. And remember, alive or dead, we'll see you at the next
funeral party. I know. It's not going to get any better, folks.
It's not going to get any better, but we'll see y'all next month on the final Friday of the month.